He's a governorship candidate of Labour Party in Lagos State. Now, well, you know, after election, I was go attend to my business. What are his chances of snatching victory from the jaws of defeat? We'd like to take your opinion on the crossfire this morning. But I'd like to say good morning to our guest once again, and we'll take his thoughts. Let's start from this point, Rex. What's your take on the process at the governorship election petition court? Of course, your candidate's case was struck out for lacking merit. Why did Gbadebo Rhodes Vivar approach the tribunal on his own, not together with the party like others did? Yeah.
Well, because this is not really about the party, it's about the election itself and who is qualified to be declared as the winner of the election under our constitution. That's really it's a very narrow issue. There's a constitutional provision that provides that no one can be the president or the governor or the vice president or the deputy governor if such person has sworn allegiance to another country. Now, there's also that provision that says that Nigerians can also be dual citizens. So the issue at hand is we submit that the court has misinterpreted the Constitution, because the issue at hand is not about whether or not a Nigerian can have dual citizenship, in which, in pursuit of that second citizenship, you swear allegiance to another country. What this provision in issue is for the particular two sensitive security positions of the nation, that of the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and the Chief Security Officer of the state. Clearly, the Constitution has provided that those are two highly sensitive positions.
Okay, so this is one of the grounds filed by your party in its petition to the governorship election petition court, the first petition.
Correct.
Okay, so before we'll get to the details, but I just want to find out, because people have been asking why GRV, your candidate, approached the petition of the tribunal on his own without the party, is what I was hoping you could just give us some clarity on.
Because that's what I'm explaining. This is not an issue about the parties. I guess there's the question is why would it be necessary for him to approach it with the party? He doesn't need the legs of the party to stand on.
Okay.
He stood for the election and he won that election as the candidate of the party. The party that went to qualify to stand for election. He's already done that, so he's gone past where
so this was this a strategy? Yeah, was this a strategy decision of sorts? Maybe looking at the way the Labour Party is shaky, looking at maybe predicting what was happening in the state, where there was some sort of division was going to happen.
No, because firstly, it's just a legal issue. Lawyers, in order to make sure that there's not a jumbling of issues and confusion of the issue, you want to isolate matters to the matter at hand. The party is not particularly relevant to this case on the grounds in which this case is brought. So all that is just white noise, probably made by people trying to distract from the main issue.
Okay, so back to the petition. It was thrown out for lack of merit. What were the grounds for that initial petition filed at the governorship election petition court?
Right. So I think there were let me go on to the main ground, which is the issue of the current deputy governor of Lagos, Hamza, is a dual citizen. He's also a citizen of the United States of America. Okay. He has sworn allegiance to the United States.
That was what the party accused him of in its petition.
Well, it's not just an accusation. He himself admitted that in his filing.
Okay.
It's an admission. It's just a fact. It's not a contested fact.
Okay. So the document has been filed before the court as evidence is there that he admitted that he is a citizen.
Correct, and he's not contesting that.
Okay.
What he's contesting is that that does not disqualify him to be deputy governor under the constitutional interpretation.
Okay.
And so they're taking the position. So the Constitution says you can be governor or deputy governor if you've sworn allegiance to another country. They're taking the position that this, because there's also the constitutional provision that says you can also be the dual citizen, which is correct. But for this special office, the assertion and the contention in which the courts have to determine is, does this apply to anyone who wants to hold the office of the president, vice president, governor, or deputy governor?
Okay.
I know this is, like I said, very sensitive positions, but they are interpreting this to say that this only applies to a Nigerian who was not born a Nigerian by naturalization. So you have someone who says it's from Lebanon or a foreign country, decides to become a Nigerian by naturalization, then subsequently renounces that Nigerian citizenship and pledges allegiance to another country, and then comes back and says he wants to run to be president or governor. So they're saying it's only in that narrow provision that the Nigerian constitution went to the trouble to provide that exclusion. So that, think about the statistical possibility of that prospect, that Nigerians would likely vote for someone who was not born in Nigeria, wasn't Nigerian, decided to become Nigerian by naturalization, subsequently renounced that citizenship, or at least pledged allegiance to another foreign country, but still now wants to come back to be president or governor or deputy governor of Nigeria. That's their hold, and that's what is the issue for the court.
What was your argument regarding this at the election petition?
Ours was clear that Nigeria, like a whole host of other countries, have excluded the position of president, governor, deputy governor, vice president, only to Nigerians, that you're born or naturalized, that have not pledged allegiance to another country. You cannot have two masters, so to speak. You think about that. We have soldiers that we send to war to die for the country. And you're saying their commander-in-chief could be someone who has pledged his allegiance to maybe the country you're actually at war with. Same thing with the governor or the deputy governor, who's chief security officer of the state. And we're saying that not be. This constitutional provision was intentional and intelligent in protecting only have ability to Nigeria if you be president.
That's quite interesting. So the argument of the party was that the constitutional provision is quite clear. The argument of the APC lawyers was that if you were born in Nigeria and then you discover citizenship of another country like the United States of America, and of course you have to denounce your Nigerian citizenship, then that's what the Constitution is talking about. Denying you the opportunity to hold high office in the country. And they drew a difference between had the American citizenship and then Nigerian national citizenship, that they themselves can run high office. Have I got you right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, just to state clearly, they're saying if you are if you are born in Nigeria, it doesn't matter if you've pledged allegiance to another country.
Okay.
That's really what they're saying. That I see no one can take that away from you to be president or governor. And the constitutional provision clearly says otherwise. They're saying only applies to those who were not born in Nigeria, but became Nigerians by naturalization. And then subsequently pledged allegiance to another country, which I'm saying, how can that statistically be the concern of the Constitution, given the
But Rex, so what was the decision? What did the panel of judges at the tribunal say regarding this?
Well, they held, and this is, I guess, it's for the appeal court to decide if the ruling was correct, because we think that's incorrect. That's why we're appealing. They're holding that provision doesn't apply to people who were born in Nigeria. Now, that's correct for any other office, because they're citing cases where people apply to the House of Assembly, state reps, but not for that position of president or governor. So this is a very unique provision of the Constitution, specifically to the office of the governor of a state or the deputy governor or the president or the vice president. And I think, like I said, I think it's really more of an issue for the court to decide that, is this really the envisioning of the constitutional framers, that the chief security officer or the commander-in-chief of the state who commands soldiers to die for the country can actually have fidelity and allegiance to another country.
But Rex, before you go on, you notice I'm trying to avoid us hitting the substantive matter, and you are a legal mind. Before, like you've said, moving forward, the Court of Appeal will make its decision. But your analysis of and your recall of what happened before the tribunal, and you given us your opinion, what the party thinks about what the tribunal ruled, and why the party is going ahead to appeal. And it's quite we'll take everything. But just to go back to what Justice Asham said, did Justice Asham also dismiss your case, your petition, for lack of evidence to support the claim that Deputy Governor Hamzat had renounced his Nigerian citizenship? Because it seems that for what I remember clearly, she made said something about that you didn't have evidence to support your claim that Hamzat had renounced his Nigerian citizenship, and that's why that was struck out.
Well, she struck out the testimony of a particular witness who was a lawyer in the U.S. who came to testify with respect to the procedure by which one becomes a naturalized U.S. citizen. She said she held that was not enough grounds to establish that Hamzat had dual citizenship, had pledged allegiance to the U.S. And obviously, like we said, in our appeal, he has admitted it himself. And so the ruling we've made the prima facie case that this is the standard procedure for someone who has pledged allegiance to the United States. I guess we would say the burden has shifted to him, that to say that in his special case, that general provision that applies to anyone trying to naturalize to be a United States citizen didn't apply to him, where he didn't have to renounce his Nigerian citizenship or pledge allegiance to the United States. And we obviously think that's not tenable.
All right. Do you now have that evidence in your hand to suggest that he denounced his Nigerian citizenship?
This is where, and like I said, I don't want to be pleading the case here on radio because that would be the issue here is about taking judicial notice of a common fact. And to the extent common, I use that in qualified terms because we're not talking about something in Nigeria. But these are things in which I guess most people know about the Pledge of Allegiance for the United States and what its words are. And you do recite that pledge. And it's there I think even you have access to that. If you
we're running out of time. I'm so sorry because of our advert. But you're going to still go argue that look at the wordings of the Pledge of Allegiance. So that's what you're going to say.
The oath that someone has to take when they
we'll
want
be right
to
back.
be
We'll be right
United
back.
States. Anyone.
The Wazobia Comedy Club 2.0. This promises to be lots of games, comedy, music, and plenty others. There will be special appearance by Wazobia FM OAPs, and guest comedians will also be a part of the show. To qualify, make and post a 60-second comedy video with the hashtags WCC Punchline. That is hashtag WCC Punchline and hashtag Wazobia FM Lagos. The 3 best entries will be picked and invited to open for our star comedian at the prestigious Canary Lounge. Date is 20th October 2023. Venue is Canary Lounge, 23 Road, opposite UBA Bank, First Tech Town. Time is 9 p.m. prompt. Wazobia Comedy Club 2.0. Nothing is funnier than this.
This is an infomercial. back.
We're back.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back on 99.3 Nigeria Info. This is Morning Crossfire on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, welcome back. It's still the Morning Crossfire right here on 99.3 Nigeria. My name is Kofi Bartels. Guest this morning is the governorship election campaign DG of the Labour Party in Lagos State. He's here this morning, of course, as we look at what the party is doing. The party's candidate, let me put it that way, has approached the appeal court, a court of appeal, seeking to have overturned the decision of the governorship election petition tribunal that confirmed or affirmed the election of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu as the governor of Lagos State. If you're listening this morning, your thoughts are welcome. 0700 993 993 993 is the number to call. After having his petition against the election of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu dismissed by the Lagos State Governorship Election Petition Court for lacking merit, Adebanjo's Vivo governorship candidate of Labour Party in Lagos State has filed his notice of appeal before the Court of Appeal Lagos, challenging the decision of the governorship tribunal, which upheld the return of Jide Sanwo-Olu as governor of Lagos State. We're asking you this morning, is it time that Adebanjo's Vivo, GRV as he's fondly called, moved on, sheath his sword and say, Jide, let's work together, or my people, let's take a step back. It's over. What are his chances of snatching defeat or victory from the jaws of defeat? Let's call it that. Your opinion is welcome. But our guest this morning, like I said earlier, is Mr. Rex Adebanjo. He's the campaign DG for GRV in the last election. Rex, let's look at the appeal now. What are the grounds found in the notice of appeal or contained in the notice of appeal?
The principal grounds which are laid out there is primarily that under the Constitution of Nigeria, the Deputy Governor Hamzat is disqualified from standing as for the election, and his disqualification disqualifies Sanwo-Olu as well from being governor because it's a joint ticket.
Okay,
like I said,
mm-hmm.
The principal issue is that Hamzat has pledged allegiance to a foreign country, namely the United States of America. And under our Constitution, there's a clear provision that you cannot be the president, the vice president, or the governor or deputy governor of a state if you have pledged allegiance to such a country. Now, this is very distinct from the issue of dual citizenship. It's for these two unique offices, and this is a ruling that the courts have to rule on. And to show the significance of this, if you bear with me, I'd like to take 1 minute to read out this oath of allegiance, which Mr. Hamzat had actually pledged.
Okay.
It hereby reads.
Hold on. When you say he had actually pledged, we have to remind you, Rex, that you were in there. I think the best way to put it, you weren't there. He didn't send you an invite, I think the best way to put it would be this is the oath of allegiance that is usually read by people who are given U.S. citizenship.
I stand corrected.
Okay,
yes, this is the oath of allegiance, which anyone is free to Google for the process to becoming a United States citizen, and it hereby states. So you have to imagine this is the president of your country, or the governor or the chief security officer of your state who has read this, is under this oath. It says, I hereby declare an oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state of sovereignty, of whom I have heretofore been a subject or citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
Okay.
that I would bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by law.
All right. We don't have
That
all
I will
time. We
perform-
don't have all day. I think people can
It's
Google
just
it.
one more minute.
Okay. No.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the point is, you have someone who, by oath, has basically pledged to betray Nigeria or serve as a traitor under the.
Rex, you know the thing is I think you took my,
No, I'm
my
not
correction.
alleging. I'm saying
Yeah.
hypothetically.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
but I have for benefit of those who may not have the kind of legal mind that you and I have to point out to our listeners that this is not the oath that Obafemi Hamzat took, because we were not there. Rex, you weren't there. But this is
No, we're not saying.
Yeah, I
that's
know.
the-
You've agreed. I'm just for our listeners now. I'm just letting them know.
No, but when you say this is not the oath he took, that's not correct. You're saying we don't know, we haven't established that this is the very oath he took.
Yes,
because
that's what
you're
I'm saying.
There's a remote chance that there might be something else in the oath
No,
he took.
no,
And that's for a court to decide.
Yes, but what I'm trying to point out for benefit of our listeners, because you're giving us the details of the appeal you filed, okay? This is the same thing you took in your petition to the GEPT, So what I'm just trying to let our listeners know, that some people don't go and say, oh, they had on Nigerian for it was in the news, that we read it in the news. No, it can happen that we announced that the Buffalo Hounds that swore that he's going to take up arms against, Nigeria. But this is what you Googled to find out what is the content of the oath of allegiance sworn by people who get U.S. citizenship. You Googled it. But for our listeners who are listening, I guess it's not saying that he has the exact oath or he was there or recording or the position, that this was Buffy House. I said, okay, that's it. But just to point out that.
But so,
yes,
if I could just jump in there, this is a little bit more than just Googled it. I am likewise a dual citizen.
Yeah, but you Googled it. I mean, that's what you said. Just to be sure, you said so.
No, I said anyone can Google it.
Okay.
Because I have undertaken that process personally myself. So I can actually speak to this in my personal capacity. But like I said, that's not before the court. So I'm just saying it's a little bit more than just Googling. I'm speaking for myself.
Okay.
That this is the oath that I took to become a citizen of the United States. Okay. And unless there's evidence, and why I'm alleging that, obviously there's evidence that this has been renounced, like that citizenship has been renounced. We have established a prima facie case.
Okay.
Submitting Hamzat's form himself, where he admits to being a citizen of the United States. Pursuant to that, we are alleging that he has pledged allegiance to another country because that is, like I said, the court can take judicial notice of that because that is sine qua non to becoming a citizen of the United States. And that's what's before the court decide.
Is this a document you have in your hand, or this copy of the U.S. Oath of Allegiance? Was it admitted as evidence in the tribunal?
I have to check the records. I think it was admitted as evidence, but whether the court took that, I think the issue was whether that was the very correct. The question was whether that was the exact oath that Hamzat took. So you have to understand what the line the court is holding. It's acting as if we have to provide the very oath that Hamzat took. Okay. And we have argued an appeal that that's for him to provide because no one else was there with him. It's something solely in his privy. We just know what is common knowledge and what is the law under U.S. law. Is it
bound to provide evidence, or is that for the court of appeal to decide?
That's for the court. Oh, that's certainly for the court.
Okay.
As you know, in court, when you make a case, the burden of proof then shifts.
All right.
So the question is, the court establishes that we've made a prima facie case. This is what should obtain. It's now left for him to show, if possible, some unique circumstance where that did not apply to him.
Okay, Rex, I just will point out that the Court of Appeal, the Governorship Petition Court, through Justice Shom, declared that there was lack of evidence to support this claim about Hamzat renouncing his Nigerian citizenship, and dismissed that. So that's why you now have to say, hey, Court of Appeal, he must bring that evidence himself. But before we go, just to the background to what you just said, that's what I'm saying. But before we go, because of time, some are asking, why doesn't Bible Roads Viva take a step back and say, okay, in the interest of continuity and peace in Lagos State, I'll allow someone to focus on development, like Jimmy Adebanjo used to do. Very quickly, please.
Well, like I said, let me first clarify that. The court hasn't said that there's no evidence to took that. He said the evidence we provided wasn't sufficient to prove that that's the oath we took. So it's slightly different.
Thank you.
And then, so the question about
briefly, please.
Gbadebo stepping back. Like I said, this is all about Lagos State. It's not about Gbadebo's personal ego to be governor. The point is, we believe he should have been the lawfully declared winner of the election under our laws, and that's not what obtained. So it's almost as if you would be betraying all your supporters. You don't assert that claim, which is a mandate from them. It's not about him personally. To the extent that you almost think about it like this chief security officer, he's like a general in a battle who leads his troops. And then when they actually have a case to pursue, he somehow, I mean, I'm not sure there's a suggestion. Is it for personal reasons or for what? Why would he give up on that mandate, which is not even his to give up on?
Rex, we have to go. Just give me a minute. We'll just get an announcement. I'll come and then you round off.
All right, very well.
Lagos parents and guardians, gather here because I've got sweet gist for you. And if you've heard it before, well, it's definitely best you hear it again. The I Beg to Differ Debate Championship audition has commenced. So, if you're in secondary school and you're between the ages of 13 to 16, you can now compete for the grand prize of 1 million naira. Yes, and only the best will be crowned the winner. Registration has started and it will end October 20th. Begin registration now. Again, visit nigeriainfo.fm to begin your registration now. Good luck.
This is infomercial.
All right, Direct Adebanjo, we'll take your final thoughts in a few seconds, please.
Well, I think the key takeaway from this is that ultimately this matter is going to be determined by the Nigerian Supreme Court. And so we want to, I guess, exhort all the teaming supporters of the Labour Party and GRV to keep the faith that GRV is coming, because we're pretty confident about the clarity of our case and the fact that the facts are on our side.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We equally will reach out to the Progressives Congress and even the governor himself. But Rex Adebanjo, campaign G of the Labour Party's 2023 government campaign in Lagos State, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Who's that?
Rose, baby.
To see me.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as